Welcome to another episode of the Long Gone Loser Rock Show, where today I'm going to talk about the very first time that I ever heard Ozzy Osbourne. It was sometime in 1987. Let's go. When I discovered Ozzy Osbourne, it was pretty simple. It was Rage on TV. Rage really did open me up to a lot of bands that I had no idea about. And sometime in 87, they had like a metal special. And in that metal special, they played both the videos for Lightning Strikes and Crazy Train. Immediately, I became fascinated with Ozzy Osbourne and obviously the album Randy Rhoads Tribute. Now, my brother brought home that album and I listened to it. I taped it off him and I was really into it. The one thing that really, really blows my mind about Randy Rhoads Tribute is the guitar tone. That guitar tone on Tribute has got to be, without a doubt, one of the greatest guitar tones I've ever heard by any guitar ever. Here's the album. This one I did not get back then. Like I said, I had it on cassette tape, taped off my brother for a very long time, and eventually I ended up buying the CD. And then one time I was in the USA and I went to Burger Records and this was in there for $12, so I grabbed it. And yeah, I love this record. This is my favorite Ozzy Osbourne album, even though I like pretty much most of his stuff. I wouldn't say I'm a die-hard Ozzy fan. I don't have every single record. I just don't. There's just so many of them. But the ones that I have, I love them. I think they're all great. And this one especially, like I said, the guitar tone. So when my brother bought this home in 87, it must have been midway, maybe later in the year. I can't remember exactly when, but I do remember we listened to it a lot in the summer, which would have been December and January of 88. So that became like a huge soundtrack for us, and I was listening to it a lot as well. I wasn't familiar with the lore and the history of Ozzy being in Black Sabbath and all of that. I just didn't know. I mean, I was a kid. How the hell was I going to know everything right then and there? But I discovered who Ozzy was. There was no internet for me to look it up. So I just had to read whatever was written in metal magazines and stuff like that, which at the time was always focusing on his solo career and not really his time with Black Sabbath. Randy Rhoads, for the longest time, I had no idea was even in Quiet Riot. And I loved Quiet Riot. Well, I loved the hit singles of Quiet Riot, I guess you can say, like Metal Health, Come On Feel the Noise, and Mama We're All Crazy Now, two of which were Slade covers. Granted, it worked really well because Kevin DuBrow did have an amazing voice, very similar to Noddy Holder, in a way. And yeah, so he could pull that off, no problem. So here we are with the Randy Rhoads Tribute. Now, this is funny actually, because at the end of 1987, in my school art book, I actually redrew this picture. And I've still got that book and that art picture somewhere around. And if I can find it, it's going to appear on the screen now. If it's not on the screen, it means I couldn't find it. But I do have a book that had all my art drawings in it, and I redrew this. It looked terrible, by the way. The only thing that looked cool was the guitar. The faces and everything looked awful. I really was not a very good artist. But I loved art, and I still love art. But anyway, I was really fascinated by this polka dot flying V. So when I finally saw Crazy Train, the music video, I was so into it. And I finally found out what the story was with Randy Rhoads passing away. And that's why there's so many pictures of him and everything flashing really fast on the screen during the guitar solo, and why there's all this footage of him. It makes sense because, it's a great fitting tribute with such a great guitar tone and a killer song. Crazy Train is awesome. In fact, I think most of the versions of the songs on here sound better than the studio versions, in my opinion. Now, I know that's debatable. A lot of people have their favorites, but just, I don't know, the guitar tone and the fact that this was the first thing I heard of Ozzy probably helps in that regard. But I just really love the way the guitars sound on this record. Really, really loved it. And obviously, Believer and I Don't Know, great songs. And then obviously you've got the Black Sabbath songs on here, Paranoid and all of that as well. I got this and I still blast this to this day. But that's how I discovered Ozzy, was through Rage. Always cool to find stuff on Rage. They always played great metal on there. Here's the inner sleeves, which has tons of photos and a band photo there Very, very cool. It's a CBS pressing. There we go. And it's like, it's not rare or anything like that. It's the first pressing on some sort of weird thing. It has like a random G in the matrix or something like that. That's what Discogs tells me anyway. Then we have the other inner sleeve with more photos. There you go. And obviously those cool guitars that he had. Look at those guitars, man. That Flying V is just amazing. All these photos obviously show Randy with his mum, etc., etc. But yeah, very, very cool. And this one's ripped. I don't know if I did that or it was like that when I got it. I can't remember. Here is the inner gatefold. Very, very cool. And the back cover has this letter from Ozzy. So my brother bought that record, and that's where I was able to get the picture to draw for my art class and stuff like that. But it was interesting that, you know, Rage was the TV show that really got me in to Ozzy Osbourne, and that must have been, I don't know, 87, late 87, early 88, somewhere in there. Because I know that in early 88, I took my cassette copy of this to Sky Show. I recorded over this D track with a Venom song because if you watched my Venom video, that's how I discovered Venom, was at Sky Show, and that was in January of 1988. I think in the video I said 87 by mistake, but in 88 is when that happened. And I took my cassette tape of this, my copy of that I taped off my brother, and I recorded over D, that D song with Buried Alive by Venom, because the guys that were sitting next to us had a tape-to-tape player. You know what I mean? And we were watching all these fireworks go on, and this was January 26, 1988. And we were sitting down on the grass, and these metalheads came and they sat right down next to us, and they talked about Tank and Venom all day. And that was very, very cool. They were cool to tape that song for me, and from there on, I became the biggest Venom fan from that moment. So January 26, 1988, that's when I discovered Venom, and that's when they became my favourite metal band of all time. Yeah. But anyway, this is about Ozzy Osbourne's tribute album, which was the first Ozzy record that I heard. It's not the first Ozzy record I bought, but it's the first one I heard. And yeah, I was just so into it. And I still am to this day. Yeah. May he rest in peace, Randy Rhoads. Amazing guitar player. But that guitar tone, man, just lives on, man. Lives on in my ears. And when you crank this record up loud and you hear that, like, just that roar of his Gibson Les Paul or the Flying V or whatever, it just sounds so good. It really, really sounds so good. And so, yeah, may you all crank up Randy Rhoads tribute and raise a glass to Randy Rhoads. A tragic loss to the music world. It would have been amazing to see where he had gone in the future. But yeah, what a fantastic musician. And yeah, like I always say to all my friends, is there a guitar tone on album better sounding than Randy Rhoads on the tribute record? If you feel that there is a better guitar tone, please drop it in the comments below. Because yeah, this would have to be my favourite guitar tone of all time. I don't know, I just love it. Just love that crunch. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, thanks so much for watching this video. Please take care of yourselves, look after each other, subscribe if you want. I will see you in the next video. And yeah, go out and buy some records. Crank up Ozzy Osbourne's Randy Rhoads tribute. Do yourself a favour. It's a good one. Bye-bye.